seen from the defense as a whole, right? Clearly last year wasn't good enough, right? We all can acknowledge that.
Yes.
But with what you've seen from the defense, what you saw from throughout the spring, what do you think is the strength of the defense with what you've seen?
The secondary, it should be. I just really like where Woody Washington is. He looks a little different in that. What do you go to 5?
5, yeah.
It looks a little different at 5. It took me a while to practice, but I just
Bowman
like
went to
game.
2. He was 5 before, and Woody Washington went to 5. So it screws everything up for me.
It really did have my head just spinning. But I think Billy Bowman's is a great football player. We saw that play Bowen made yesterday was nice. I mean, just the ball skills and just how he's running stride for stride with Andrell Anthony's got take top off, and to watch him make that play and just be in perfect position, and you see the athleticism and playmaking, like that kid's gonna play. I really like where Justin Harrington's at in that cheetah spot. So, there's some other corners that are going to step up. The Josiah Wagner kid, he popped to me every time I saw him, like 23. The kid from Washington, I think he's got a chance to be productive and be a player. But I like this secondary, man. They're experienced. They've had a lot of snaps collectively. And I think now when you add in a Peyton Bowen, when you've got some other guys coming back, I think you're going to have a chance to be good. What I'm not concerned about linebacker. I think they still need to. I mean, again, I didn't see it in the spring game, and Ted is there watching them more than me, so Ted can give the best linebacker breakdown. But I still think I think Jaron's still learning a little bit. I think Cannett can still come on and it'll click. I've been really impressed with Kobe McKenzie. Like if I was going to say a linebacker that I wasn't expecting much from, that I walked away most practices or most times I saw him going, dang, Levin's got a heavy hat and he's instinctive and he's downhill, right? So I like what I've seen from him. I think that he's going to be a part of that rotation. Danny Stutzman, I mean, you know what you're going to get from him. The Dasan McCullough, I'm fascinated to see what they do. And I don't know what Ted thinks. We haven't really talked a lot about this, but he continues to flash. He's not quite as, I don't think you want to get him too far away from the ball. Like before he got here, I thought, maybe he could play that. I don't know if he is the cheetah. I don't know. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not so sure he is in a second level backer. Ted, they had a play that bounced yesterday, far side away from you. And I don't know exactly, like it was played well and the ball just kept spilling. And I saw Dasan play off a block, kept scraping, and he's in perfect position for like a no gain or a 1-yarder. Like that looked to me like he looks really comfortable kind of in that second level backer spot. I just thought the way he was moving laterally, getting off blocks, I like him there. When you see him further away from the ball, I don't know. I'm not saying he can't do that. He just feels more comfortable to me the closer to the ball he gets. So I think that's something that the kid can play, right? He's got some natural instincts. He was around the ball a lot the last 2 practices I went to and then the other day. So where he lands, I think it's going to be fascinating because I do think he's a key piece, right? Like you need him. He's a different body type. He's long. He can get to an edge. You can use him in the blitz game. I think he's a pretty good natural tackler. Like he needs to be an impact player. And exactly how Coach Roof and Coach Venables decide to deploy him and where they decide to use him, I think could be pretty instrumental on how big of a jump this defense takes next year. And I'm not putting it all on his shoulders, but you're getting an additional body type and new kind of player that you haven't necessarily had this past season. And I'm intrigued. I'm optimistic big time. I just don't know, Ted, exactly where he fits on this defense.
Well, no, I think that's a legitimate thought. I think the cheetah is like the perfect world. If you could have a guy with his length out there, and I think we got to remember he's still young, right? He's still got a ton of eligibility left. Harrington's in his final year, and he's
in a good spot, Ted. And that's my other point. I think Coach Venables wants to get as many dudes on the field at once as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want 37 off the field. I don't know what you guys think, but 37 to me when I'm out there, I'm like, he finally, I think, understands his role. He's confident in his play. Those safeties have a chance to be really good this year. And again, I don't know if you'd want to take 37 off to put one there. You know, like I feel like if you could have 37 stay and find a place to get one on the field, that sounds like the more quality players on the field, the better.
I think I still believe he's more of a stand-up edge guy.
Yeah.
You know,
I like him close to the ball.
Yeah. And maybe inside backer, Kobe McKenzie, Canick are battling it out at Mike. You know, Stutzman, the only backup we have for Stutzman right now, Witter's been banged up. He didn't do much this spring. It's Kip Lewis. We have one inside backer that's played any amount of football at all, and that's Stutzman. Nobody else has played anything at all. So that's the thing that worries you. So, yeah, I don't know now that we're getting close, like over the summer, I'm sure Deshaun will still work at that cheetah spot, and it will continue to work there. But, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they moved him to an inside spot to start to see how he looks, or even move him up to an edge if they can put some weight on him.
Dusty, do you remember when Jim Knowles was still at Oklahoma State and some of the stuff he would do with Trace Ford?
Yep.
Where he'd float him in the middle of that defense.
I mean, they did it with Dan Cody back in 2004. Remember the spinner package that they put in and they move him around? No, it's a great point. We've seen it there. I mean, other people have utilized. I mean, Coach V used to do stuff like that at Clemson when he's got different people. So yes, that's my thought, which I don't know. Coach V hasn't told me this. I'm not giving state secrets. I just look at it and I think, especially in sub package spots, I think you could be creative with him. And he does. I'm so with you. Like, so I keep saying around the ball, he closes also on the football well. Like once he goes, he can get to the ball quickly. And I think anytime you can have somebody that can set an edge, that can be disruptive, man, I think you got to find a way to get him on the field. I'd be surprised if we don't see that.
Last thing on him is, like, for me, where he was in the first practice I attended to the spring game, he may have made some of the biggest jumps in just knowing what he's doing and looking the part out there of anyone out there. So
that's right.
It's exciting that there's some guys like that. And maybe before we move off of defense, Adebawore.
Oh, thank you. What is 34?
Adebawore.
Adebawore.
Can we call him PJ?
PJ.
Yeah. I was told PJ is good. I like this kid a lot. He is so, you know, his brother is like the guy who put up maybe the freakiest combine in the history. The kid from Northwestern
went from
284, ran
first round pick.
Yeah, he weighed 280, he ran 4.4. Right? What? How's that even possible? I was told. I don't want to get people like, oh, but like I want to say they told me he was front squatting like, I thought somebody told me like 5 wheels, like 500 pounds, because he doesn't have very big legs, but he's crazy strong. But in his frame, like he ain't even scratched the surface. I mean, this kid is a good looking player, man. And everything I've been told, he's an awesome young man, works his tail off. He got a lot better from the first practice I saw him till the last practice I saw him. And obviously everybody had a chance to see him yesterday. He's improved a ton, which you'd expect. I mean, should be in high school. So I think I really hope 34 can be somebody who's on the field and is, you know, whether he's buying reps just in depth, he's a guy you can bring in on third down packages. He's still raw and he's got a long way to go, but the upside, and even in just some competitive situations I saw him in, he will fight tooth and nail. So I think he's got a lot of the things that you look for. I'm really glad you mentioned him because I would say I don't think this is even controversial, but of the young crop of freshman talented players that just came in, he's got the highest ceiling of any of the front players that I've seen in this recruiting cycle.
I have no problem throwing this out there. In fact, I did it. I think I did it on our last podcast. I think his ceiling is number 1 pick of the draft.
I mean, yeah, sure. Sure.
I mean, like, I really do. Like, I think that if they develop him properly, because at the spring game, that was the first time like I had really spent time standing next to him, chatted with him a little bit. And until you're standing next to him, it's like, I was like, damn, this dude. And you're right. He's barely scratching the surface of what he's going to be physically. Like, if they develop him properly, Ted and I said it, he should be a top 10 pick. And I know those expectations are high, but like when you see the physical gifts he's got, Dusty, I don't know. Have we ever had a guy since Coach Stoops got here? Have we ever had a guy that had those physical characteristics on the edge?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll give you an answer next time we're here. As long as his mind's in the right place and he keeps working, he keeps trying to get better. I think they expect he can hold it. Like, I know Schmitty wants him around 250 next season. I think he showed up at like 225. I think they said he put on they told me like 10 to 13 here this, through winter. I think the plan is hopefully 45, 50. I mean, they're 6'4", 250, being able to move the way that he can. I'm telling you, like they said in the weight room, he's freaky. I mean, again, look at his brother. I mean, I
saw a video of his
cloth.
younger brother who's like a sophomore.
Yes.
Squatting 500 pounds, like horrible form. He's wearing like New Balance tennis shoes and just all the way to the ground and stood up with it like it was nothing.
It's a great thing when you find it. So I don't even want to put that on PJ. Like, I don't want to come on here and say, oh, and you can say that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just hopeful that he can live up to the talent that he has. I'm hopeful that he can really work and he can get better. And yeah, he'll have a chance to be a different game-changing type of player that needs to be more commonplace at Oklahoma. And everything that I've seen, he has the traits, the mindset, I think the work ethic to achieve that. But we've also seen guys that we thought, and it just didn't. So, but yes, Gabe, you are right. He is a special and very talented young man. And I am excited to see this summer. He could really take another jump, he'll be, I mean, this winter he was exposed to, training like he never has. Just went through his first spring, get to exhale a little bit. Summer shows up and get back into it and grind. So for him, if his mind's right, which I would imagine Schmitty and Scotty and those boys will get him right, he'll have a chance to really take a step. And I think more guys like that, the better. Again,
agreed.
In no way talking negative about anybody or anything before, but the more quality, elite, type of athletes and playmakers you can get on the field, I think the better everybody feels about that.
Yeah. Just thinking about it, when I look and think of the early arrivals, when you talk about, and we'll get to him, Caden Green, PJ, Peyton Bowen, Jackson Arnold, the running back Hicks and Smothers, and
I like
Josiah
Hicks.
Wagner. For 5 or 6 early arrival guys,
they're going to play.
They're playing their asses off right now,
and they're going to play.
Yeah, that's wild. That recruiting class is looking better and better.
Yeah, they're going to come in, they're going to compete, and they're going to be expected to play. And then a couple of guys from the portal, same thing. Andrew Anthony's going to play, and Dasan McCullough is going to play. I mean, there's going to be a lot of new bodies out there, making an impact for the Oklahoma Sooners this next season, which when you finish 6-7, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But there's going to be some young guys and new faces, yes, that are going to be called upon immediately. And the way that I've seen them play toward the end of spring, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's coming. It's actually what you want, if you ask me. Again, I hate to always go back and romance the stone, but I mean, you played as a true freshman on a national championship team. I came in the next year. I played my entire true freshman year. Tommy Harris played his entire true freshman year. We had several guys that were young and had to step in and play. And you guys have just won a national championship. So it is possible. It's not something you always want to have to be able to do, but it is possible if the right guys are there. And it seems like there's a handful of these guys that are going to be ready to step up when called upon.